Reem, Alexia, Shawn, hey, congratulations for the last mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Such a these type of films is such a guilty pleasure for many of us. So let's ask that obligatory question. What attracted you to a project like The Last Mark? I'll start with Reem first. You know, being the director.
Sure. The writer Cheryl and I were working together in a writer's room, and she told me about her project, and I thought it was very interesting because you rarely see sort of an action thriller film that has this kind of heavy focus on a father-daughter relationship, and I thought that is a very interesting element that I haven't seen before. So, and just the concept of her kind of growing up in captivity and him becoming a father while he's holding her captive is also a very different kind of approach to a film like that. So I thought these were very interesting elements for me, and it was my first action thriller. So always a great challenge for a director to try something new, a new genre and all that. So that was really the main thing for me.
Most excellent. Shawn, I've seen you your previous work on The Expanse and a few other type of projects. What drew you into play this, you know, cool under pressure assassin?
Oh, I don't see him as cool under pressure at all anymore. I think maybe at one point in his career he was, and I think ultimately what drew me into the project was the idea that he is very challenged by what he's chosen to do with his life, and he's trying to find a way to redeem himself for past choices through what he sees as an opportunity to do that. And on top of what Reem said, which I agree with, I also was attracted to the idea of aging, you know, as a metaphor for life for us as an actor. It was a way to explore that too for myself. Most excellent
answer. Alexia, I'm not familiar with a lot of work for yourself, but but I do actually recall you played a hologram once in a Bruce Willis film, and I do actually remember that. But what drew you into a film like this?
I really liked that my character was really ballsy and feisty. She's very strong-willed, a little bit on the bratty side occasionally, and I was really excited about the father-daughter dynamic relationship. I felt like there was a lot of depth there, and I also really liked the writing. I felt like there was some really great subtle comedic moments that I could kind of play off of, even amidst the action thriller element. So I was really excited about that.
Shawn, Alexia, tell us about the development of your chemistry, because that's what this entire film is. It's all about, between the father and daughter relationship.
I'm letting you go first this time.
I'm going first. Well, sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. And this time we were lucky in terms of coming together and finding out that we were able to play well off each other and take risks together while we trusted each other. We didn't have any rehearsal really, with the exception of a day or two. Was it 2 days, Reem? Maybe one, which really is so minimum when you're trying to get to know another actor and trying to figure out how you're going to be able to work with them. So it's always a risk, you know, and Reem made the right choices with casting, and we were lucky, and we were both willing to just go for it.
Yeah, I felt like we really hit it off right from the beginning, and I did feel that like fatherly daughter kind of presence, and I felt like I could really trust Shawn with a lot of, you know, questions that I had about my character and where I was going. If I needed some advice, I could go to him for some advice. And kind of, I feel like off camera, we kind of developed a little bit of that father-daughter relationship, which was really nice. And it was really fun. And yeah, we were both able to just dive straight in and give the best of ourselves to the characters. So yeah, I think I agree. We were lucky that we had that chemistry right off the top.
So then I'll ask Reem this. Reem, what was your approach towards Shawn and Alexia, since they are in most of the scenes? Do you let them work on it by themselves, or you try to guide them in one direction or another?
I think this film was a really great example for me of when working with very professional actors who are really on the ball and really want to do an amazing job makes a huge difference. So my job was very easy with them, especially because the film was shot during COVID, which added another layer of difficulty. It was my first time to shoot during COVID, and this added a lot of kind of obstacles in the way. But we've discussed many scenes sometimes, because it's a thriller essentially. Because of some of the humor that we had in the story, it wasn't always clear, shall we go very comedic, shall we stay in the middle, shall we take it more seriously? So these were conversations that the three of us have had a lot, in either on one-on-one basis or together. And we even played with it when we were shooting. We tried, let's go straight, let's try to have some comedy here, let's see if we go lighter, how it would feel like, and then see. So their flexibility and willingness to try things and also put so much of themselves, most of the time their own initial reaction to the material was the most perfect one for it. So that's why I'm saying my job was so much easier, because of how dedicated and hardworking they both are, and have the skill for it as well.
Let me remark about the humor here, because the humor somehow comes out of nowhere, because the tone seems so serious. Shawn, I'll start with you, because your character seems so serious, and it doesn't seem like, he's such a humorous fellow in a film like this. Are you jealous that a lot of humor is coming from Alexia in a film like this?
Am I jealous of that?
Yeah.
No, I'm glad she got to do the heavy lifting with the humor. It's fantastic.
Well, then let me throw it through Alexia with the humor. First of all, who taught you to eat breakfast like that?
I just figured, I was like, she must be starving. She doesn't care. She's in this captive situation. She's just like, screw it. I'm just going to shovel food into my face. And I thought it was kind of like a funny, cute moment. But yeah, I figured she's kind of like rough and tumble, like a little bit of a tomboy, doesn't really care about how she looks, especially in that sort of situation when she's being held captive. So
Alexia, in terms of doing like these humorous scenes, you don't, are you naturally funny person yourself? Like you don't question a lot of the stuff that your character is actually trying to do. Like, for example, trying to break a door down. I mean, that was I want to say that must have been like 50, 60, 70 takes. I don't know.
it was a lot of like heavy banging into the door, and I tend to go for it when I'm acting. So I think I was like really heavily like slamming into the door because I wanted it to look really real. But I think my character's really strong-willed, and she thinks that she can take care of herself. And so she took matters into her own hands and was really trying to escape and trying to trick the character of Keele all the time to escape, and any chance she could get, she would take it. So,
Shawn, a lot of the stuff here, even with the humor or action, it's much more of like your reaction from your character. Could you talk more about that?
That the character is reacting a lot?
Yeah, because you're reacting to Alexia a lot, and I also want to say you're reacting to Bryce a lot in a film like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that when you look at a script, you have to, at least this is what I try to do, is try to understand who has the volition in the scene, who's pushing the scene, and who is reacting. And in a lot of this film, I feel like the role of Keele is to be the audience, that the audience looks at this situation through his eyes. And so, yeah, my job is to react a lot, I feel, in this film, and filter the perspective or reaction as I'm doing that. And I was surrounded by really funny, really dynamic actors, and so it was easy to just be with them and look at what they're doing and react.
Alexia, because technically you're a hostage in a film like this, did you feel that the humor is out of place, or you actually enjoyed it much better?
I felt like we struck the right balance for sure. It was something that we were always discussing, trying to find the right tone, the right balance, just to make sure that there was still the classic thriller element. And there was still some more tense, dramatic, scary moments. But I think overall we struck a good tone. So, yeah.
Well, then I guess that bounces to Reem. Reem, talk about the balance of the humor that you wanted in a serious thriller like this.
Well, I really love the quirkiness of it. Like for me, I'm more comedy is not a genre I dabble in a lot. I'm more like in you know thrillers and drama and so on. So comedy is not exactly my thing. So it was really interesting to see like you know in a Coen Brothers film where you know everything is so serious, but there's all these quirky moments. And I think Cheryl, our writer, this was her target, is to do something that is very serious on the surface, but you have this little quirkiness that you see from the characters and the little things that happen, and I think this added so much sparkle to it. Like it's not you're not serious. It's a light film in a way, despite the intensity of the action, but the quirkiness of the characters adds so much layers to it as well. So we've talked about it actually a lot, many conversations with both of them. And I remember with Shawn especially, we had these talks about, hey, what do you think? Are you feeling the humor in the scene or not? What does it mean to you? And so on. And we had these kind of conversations. And then according to that, we decided, okay, we're going to go this way for this scene. We're going to go the other way for the other, and so on. Depends on the feel of the character in the moment. Because I want it to be also ringing true for the actors, and it's not just you know what's written and that's it. You know.
Then Reem, address the psychopath that you have to input into the film with Bryce here.
I really liked Bryce because he did a new take on the psychopath. He wasn't. I think he made it his own and went in a direction that was very different from many other psychopaths I've seen. He just appear on the screen and you just know some doom is impending. And I think this builds on after the scene when they're killing the character, the Russian character. So it's kind of from that point on you understand that this guy just enjoys the joy of killing. Basically, his book series would be the joy of killing, and he finds something like very interesting about it for him to kind of take away his soul. So I really loved his take, and we actually with him we did a lot of online rehearsals because aside from COVID, he's also in Vancouver and I'm in Toronto. So we met a lot, we emailed a lot about his character, and then we found he found really what felt very genuine to him and where he wants to take it. So it felt amazing to see it on screen, being able to like master that kind of middle point of being terrifying and weird and eccentric and the joy of killing there, you know.
That is true. That is true. Since Reem brought it up, Alexia, how much did you have to practice your awful Russian accent?
Well, that was kind of a fun thing because it wasn't a genuine Russian accent. So I kind of just made something up that I thought was kind of funny. And I thought it was quite cute and funny. But yeah, I kind of just made it up. I don't even think you could classify that as a real accent in any way. So
that is great. Reem, could you tell us more about the safe house that you actually had to pick this location for, which is a setting for most of the scenes in the film like this?
I was looking for something that looks very abandoned, because for me, the interpretation of the story was more that both characters have experienced some kind of abandonment in some form or the other. So especially for her, having lived a very tough life and having her father disappeared on her and not knowing who he is, and then being at the mercy of her mother's boyfriends and receiving no love. And I really, really wanted this house to reflect that. So when we were doing location hunting, that was one of the main objectives for me, like that kind of feel of something that needs a lot of attention and love and care. And when we found that, we had an amazing production designer, but I really love finding locations that also have that kind of energy and lend themselves to that feeling, because it adds so much. There's an additional layer that you don't really see, no matter how well it's created, and I felt like this will give it. We saw a few other houses that were slightly wider, which would make our shoot a little bit easier, but they just didn't have that feel of it. But this film, I kind of that kind of location, every time I went to it, I always felt that kind of, I need love, basically. So that was really one of the main reasons we chose it. And then we figured out, despite the tightness of it, we figured out how to go around and do very different kind of shots every time for the same kind of location.
That is terrific. Which remind me of with the location in a certain scene. Shawn, putting on night vision goggles, was that even on for you? I mean, that was probably one of the most awkward things to do for anyone in the dark.
Well, there's this thing that always happens as an actor. You're told to do some particular action. Any actor can attest to this over their career. For example, running. You'll run and they'll say, can you actually slow down your running? It'll feel weird, but it'll look fine on camera. And so you have to kind of suspend your disbelief and do this really ridiculous movement and trust that the person behind the camera is telling you the truth. And this is a kind of similar situation. Obviously, they weren't practical night vision goggles. They were very heavy. And, trying to look cool using any kind of equipment like that is always one of the biggest challenges as an actor. And I don't know. I think it looked okay. What do you think?
I think you pulled it off.
There we go. Well, let me start wrapping things up. What is next for all of you? Let me start with Reem.
I'm finishing up a feature that I started a while back, and it's 3 short stories within the same kind of theme, and they're in different genre, which makes it very exciting and different. And then I have another feature this summer called Queen Tut that we're shooting in August.
Great. Alexia, what's next for you? And will you ever go back to that hairstyle?
I tend to like to change my hair, but I'm definitely going to keep it. I'm going to grow it out, keep it dark for now. I'm doing the serious look right now. But I just have a guest star on a TV show called Family Law coming out. And I was actually full-blown blonde on that show. And it's very, very light and comedic. So I tend to like to switch up my genres. I go from like super dark to super funny and maybe some sci-fi in there. I know you mentioned Apex. I did have a role in that as a British speaking hologram opposite Bruce Willis, which is out right now. So that's exciting.
Lastly, Shawn?
Well, right now I'm on Star Trek Discovery for the season. And maybe more, but I can't say any of that. And also I'm working on another project that I can't really talk about at the moment, but I'm trying to get my courage up for that one.
I was going to say you keep a lot of your projects in secret, but that's terrific. But
well, we're told to do that. Unfortunately, we get in big trouble if we don't.
Most excellent. Let me leave with one more question, and then this is for Alexia. How do you endure that leather outfit for a huge part of that movie?
It was actually surprisingly very comfortable. And the way it was structured was it had the leather outfit was full bodysuit, but it had like a little corset element to it, which made me feel a little bit more secure and comfortable. Like I didn't have to be like super, amazing looking all the time because the corset kind of like sucked everything in. And we were able to put some warm underlayers in it so that when we were outside, I was comfortable and I felt pretty good throughout the whole film in that, but it was definitely a fun outfit for sure.
Okay, well, I felt differently just watching you wearing that outfit, but thank you very much, everyone, for speaking to us about The Last Mark. Really appreciate it. I mean, I can't wait to speak to all of you again someday on your future projects.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Bye now.